Tyreek Hill is fast. Like, very fast. Like, this guy ran a freaking 4.2 at the combine. Known for his blazing speed that makes people appear as if they're standing still, Tyreek has made a name for himself. And if you don't believe me, check out the numbers on his resume and see how it compares some of the all-time greats in Kansas City Chiefs history. I mean, the guy's nicknamed Cheetah by his peers. And they don't give you no nickname like that unless you have cheetah-like speed. Of all Tyreek's speed, there's nothing that we know him for. And no, I'm not talking about the blonde hair. I'm not talking about he wears number 10. But the peace sign. Now, Tyreek Hill been doing that peace sign ever since he's been in the league. Now, imagine, if you think his speed, which is a 4.2, by the way, is disrespectful, imagine as a defender, you're chasing him, and once he throws that up, you might as well just stop and walk back to the sideline because you're not catching him. Tyreek uses that piece when he does his home run chunk plays goes for a touchdown. But, there was a time he taunted the wrong guy, and it came back to bite him on the cheeks. Not those cheeks. You know what I'm talking about. He taunted Antoine Winfield Jr. Who's that? What? Antoine, who's that? Well, let me introduce you to him. Antoine Winfield Jr., son of Antoine Winfield Sr., remember him, cornerback for the Vikings? Antoine Winfield Jr. was drafted in the second round out of Minnesota, and he is one of the founding key members of that young core of defense we got. You know, guys like Carlton Davis, Jamel Dean, Sean Murphy-Burton, and Devin White. Remember that name, though, because I have a feeling we're going to have to come back to him later in the video. But you get the picture. Young defense, young studs. Going to be around for years and years. Now, Antoine Winfield Jr.'s resume is not as polished as Tyreek Hill, but it's nothing to sneeze at. So you got these two young players, one who's already proved he's the best at what he do, and the other one who's an up-and-comer. What did all go wrong at? 2020 NFL season. Buccaneers acquired Tom Brady. And, of course, when you get Tom Brady, you are a championship contending team. But during the season, like all teams, the Buccaneers had their ups and downs. Media was writing them off, and it just wasn't looking good. They lost to the Saints in the opener. They came back and beat the Panthers, Chargers, Broncos, lose to the Bears. You can get a picture, up and down. But week 12, the last game before the bye week, Buccaneers had the biggest game of the season against the Chiefs. You know, led by the young stud, Pat Mahomes, who's had a quite impressive career so far. Most importantly, he was an MVP and Super Bowl champion and MVP for on his 25th birthday. The Buccaneers needed this game, seeing how they lost the week before to the Rams. And the game was somewhat underwhelming. I mean, it just wasn't, it was only 3-0. But it took almost 10 minutes for the first touchdown. And when it happened, Pat Mahomes threw a strike to Cheetah, who caught it, proceeded to hit Antoine Winfield Jr. with the peace sign. Remember when I said Tyreek Hill only does the peace sign on chunk plays? Well, I think 75 yards classified as a chunk play. But to add insult to injury, 5 minutes later in the same quarter, Pat Mahomes threw another strike. Tyreek Hill, who beat Carlton Davis, shook Mike Edwards to the ground, and Tyreek Hill scored a touchdown. But before he can do that, he did a backflip in the end zone. Tyreek Hill had 203 yards in the first quarter of that game. But Most guys would just, okay, I did enough damage. I'm done. I'm going to be humble. They know who I am now. But Tyreek Hill decided, no, I'm not done. He did the famous Shannon Sharp phone call to rub more salt in our wound. Drink it in, Tyreek. You deserve it. Now the Bucs tried to make a comeback. Made the game very interesting, but the Chiefs ended up winning by 3. Fun fact, that was the last game that we lost that season. Spoiler alert. Also, at the bye week, Bruce Arians gave the team some of that Space Jam Michael Jordan secret stuff, and it would help them to the Super Bowl. And eventually we did get to the Super Bowl. Now let's fast forward to the Super Bowl. February 7th, 2020, Raymond James Stadium. Buccaneers are the first team in NFL history have a Super Bowl home game playing against who else? The Kansas City Chiefs. Now the media, now they wanted to portray this as the young GOAT versus the old GOAT, which is ridiculous and don't make any sense. You don't have 2 greatest of all time. You know, that's like having 2 valedictorians, or like that's like WWE having 2 champ. Never mind. Anywho, the game was the complete opposite of Week 12. The Buccaneers dominated this game. They put a ton of pressure on Pat Mahomes to the point he was throwing the ball, falling down, landing sideways, behind his back, anything out of desperation. You remember Tyreek Hill, same guy who had 200 yards in the first quarter? Well, he pretty much shut down. He had 7 catches for 73 yards, but that was in garbage time. The game was already over with. His yards was empty calories. With 4 minutes left, Buccaneers up 31-9. Pat Mahomes went to Old Reliable, but this time he wasn't available because he was covered by who else? The victim of the peace sign in Week 12, Antoine Winfield Jr. After knocking the pass down, Antoine Winfield Jr. felt it was only right to give Tyreek a taste of his own medicine. And he did his own version of the peace sign. Now let's pause real quick because I want to compare something real quick. I want to compare both taunts. When Tyreek Hill does the peace sign, he's running away, and he's running away. He's not looking at you, and it basically says you can't catch him. So it's kind of like, aha, he can't catch me. What Antoine Winfield Jr. did was way more disrespectful. Antoine Winfield knelt down, looked Tyreek Hill dead in his eyes, did the peace sign, held it for a couple seconds, backed away without breaking eye contact, and still held up the taunt. Now, you remember when Tyreek did the Shannon Sharp? And you remember what I said, remember Devin White in the beginning of the video? Well, Devin White decided he wanted a little piece of the action, and he did his own version of the Shannon Sharp. And wait a minute, who is that beside him? Who is that? Antoine Winfield Jr. Anywho, Bucks win 31-9. We happy. Antoine got his revenge, and that's what we call even. Tyreek Hill got traded to Miami, and Antoine Winfield became a Pro Bowler and is one of the leaders of the defense. And that is pretty much the beef and the taunt explained. Enjoy the video. Like, subscribe. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good day.